Yes, for the most part, I think it's trauma.
Trauma.
Yes, I think our mothers were traumatized because they also had to go through a lot.
Without being
They
told.
had to go through a lot.
No one told them to.
No one told them. There was a lot of silence going on in the
In those days.
in those like
They were not informed. Nobody was informed. Nobody was informing anybody.
And nobody was informing anybody. Like in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s as well. Nobody, even the 90s.
Yeah.
Nobody was informing. Like there was a lot of silence in the air when it came to some very, very crucial, very
Life phases.
remarkable hurdles that we have to go through. Like
As a woman.
So I think like it was a pass down. Like my mother didn't tell me, so I won't tell you. Hi everyone, welcome to In-House Unfiltered. We are so glad to have you back.
Hello everyone. You're welcome to In-House Unfiltered. We are glad to be back here again, and it's good to have you here with us on this episode of In-House Unfiltered. So today promises to be our topic today promises to be very insightful and interesting. I don't know, have you ever had an experience where you came out of it and you began to ask, why didn't anybody ever tell me that I had to go through this? Why didn't someone mention that this is what this experience feels like? If you've ever been in such situation, then know that you're not alone. There are so many people that have been in the same shoes as you have been. And today we're going to be majoring on one of these experiences, and that is one of the experiences that women go through in childbearing. So it's going to be more of a Q&A session, and we're going to be taking questions and answer. So I hope you have a wonderful time, listening to this episode. So, hi, Ma.
Hi, Matu.
So, you've had two childbearing experiences.
Okay.
Your first child, which was nearly 8 years ago, next month, August,
Yeah.
will make the first child 8 years, and then the second child, which was nearly 6 years ago, because she'll be six in by next month, August. So, um, this both childbearing experiences during the pregnancy, and even most especially during the on the delivery day, you know, what experiences did you get to have that when you look back at them on those days or those moments, you wonder, why didn't anybody ever get to you know explain that this is what I was going to see, this is what I was going to be going through. you know what are the experiences you had in this moment of childbearing and delivery that you really wondered, why didn't someone enlighten me on what this process was really going to look like?
Okay. Firstly, I'll start by saying that I had my son while I was in medical school, and I had him. I had an exam on that morning,
Yeah.
9 a.m. I think, and then had him, and then the labor started 2 a.m. midnight before the exam morning. So I was contracting in the exam hall. Like I had, because my surname starts with A, so I sat in front and I write, I contract.
Your previous surname,
Yes,
sorry.
my previous surname, yes. So it was an A. It started with an A, so I had to stay in front, of course. So I write and I pant, and then it stops, and then I write, try, and then the contraction comes again. Because it was still like it was 2 cm dilated, as I think, as at then. So it was like coming, let me say, 10, 12, 15 minutely. Yeah, that was the gap. So I was contracting in the exam hall, and I was writing, I think, pediatrics on that day. So, as a medical doctor or a medical student, then I had that was the class I was actually in. We were learning O&G, obstetrics and gynecology, and I had the theoretical knowledge of what childbearing and pregnancy and everything entailed, but I didn't have the practical knowledge. So I was pregnant and then now beginning to have the practical knowledge of what it felt like. And I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me about this? Like, especially my mother, like, mommy, why didn't you tell me this is what pregnancy entailed? Like the first month, the second month, the third month, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, seventh, eighth night, like then the grandmaster, the childbearing. So we went, my amazing, amazing, lovely cosmates escorted me to the hospital, and everybody started coming down, my husband, everybody, because we were in medical school then. And then we got to the hospital, and then of course, the contractions were coming closer, and all of that. And I was going mad. I was going crazy. Like mad and crazy does not even describe, and that was still like, I think then it was 4 cm. Like I've not even started. I had not even started.
She was just
I was
dilating
still like
4 cm.
dilating 4 cm as at then, and I thought I had seen it all, but all the question I had going on in my head is, why didn't anybody, like, I had no one ever told me about pregnancy. So let's set that aside. No one ever told me about childbearing, like what it entailed, what I was going to see, what I was going to
On the delivery
experience
day.
on the delivery day. Nobody prepared me. No friend, no mother, no father, no auntie, no uncle. Everybody was quiet. Everybody is quiet. Why is everybody quiet?
Why was
Why
everybody?
why did anybody tell me this is what it's going to be like? Everybody's like, oh, go and get married. Let's not even go there. And then nobody tells you what marriage entails.
What is what the
The lifetime
package,
school of
the
marriage,
total package,
what it is,
or the half, at
what
least
it
half of
is.
the
Oh
package.
my goodness. So
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh, get married, and everybody's rejoicing with you on your wedding day. Let's leave that. You're talking about childbirth. And then it was graduating from 2 cm to 4 cm. So I finished the exam and wrote down 4 cm. Then it went to 6 cm. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't, like, she was there then, and some of my friends and people were there, and they were actually like, they had empathy, towards me. They were feeling the feelings of my infirmity and all that. But nobody, you're surrounded, but you're alone. So at the point they were talking and laughing, and I'm like, why are people laughing? Stop laughing. Nothing is funny. I'm going through here, like I'm seeing, you know, I'm going to the gates of it, like I'm seeing my great grandfathers, and why didn't anybody tell me? And then you have to go in for the checks in between,
Where the doctor gets to
put their
their hand
hands, do the vaginal examination, do the
to check how well
yeah, the
dilated you
sweeping
are.
and all of that to check out. And you're going through that pain on top of it. Like, it's a pain I can't describe. It's like a mixture of all the types of pain: stabbing, dull, ache, fire, burning, everything, all the forms of pain, excruciating, put together.
Together.
Like, I can't explain it. But those words,
These are the pains
the,
of labor
these pains, like,
that most people
don't
get to
come close to
experience.
what it is, because I really don't have. I wish I could speak in tongues, and it could be interpreted, because it's a pain nobody should go through. I keep saying to everybody, is the crudest thing
Yeah.
I've ever seen on earth. Like, even animals do not need to go through that.
That and then you had to go through that
That
for the first
unprepared,
unprepared for the first
unprepared
child, and go through
that
that again for
for the
the second
second,
child.
and
And for most people, third, fourth, fifth children going forward,
10,
11,
11, 12.
yes, even though they say it gets better with
It
each
didn't
child,
get better.
but
It didn't get better with my second.
that's
In
not
fact, it was
always
even worse
that's
with
not
my
always the
second.
case. Yeah.
It was worse with my second. I actually passed out and then came back. It was worse. Like, so
So you're
then
saying with your second child, you passed out and came
came
back.
back. Yes, I passed out because the pain was too much. With my first child, my son, it was too much. It was. But let me talk about the one where I passed out. Like, I don't even want to remember. I'm trying not to remember. Those experiences. They're not really nice, but it's something you live with. So for the second child, I passed out. Like, the pain was so much. I had to hold the nurse, the intern nurse. I held her hands, and it was like I was almost breaking her wrist bone, her wrist joints, and
Yeah.
yeah, like it was so hard. And then at the point, the nurses sent her out to get something like some instrument or something.
Yeah.
And then I had no one. For I literally looked at her and said, "Please, you're my fellow human being. Please don't leave me. Just hold me, please." And then she's like, she was sweating and I was sweating. And I was sweating. I was cold. You're having all everything at the same time. Your body can't tell what is doing. And then she had to leave. And then the nearest thing and the only thing I had closest to something that was hard I could transmit that pain to was the lung oxygen. So I held the oxygen, the gas cylinder, the cylinder, sorry, and then held the head of it. That was where I was transmitting all the pain to. For my son, I was transmitting all the pain to the hospital bed, like
The
yeah,
real,
the frame.
the frame.
That's right. And then at the point I was holding my husband's hands and it was almost breaking. I held my sister's hand. I had one of my friends to their hands. Like human beings can't bear that for a long time because you're trying to transmit that the pain is too much. Why didn't anybody tell me this is what it's going to be like? And then the part where you get to push and
Oh,
oh,
let's not talk about the push. Push.
like no, it's a
Mhm.
lot. It's a lot.
We're
Let's not.
supposed to do this pushing.
And why didn't anybody tell me this is what? Why didn't anybody tell me?
Why is nobody talking?
Why is nobody talking?
Yeah.
So as I since I made it my life's duty to tell anybody that comes through me that is going to go there. Whether you've gone there or you've not, or you're about to go there, for the fact I know you're a woman like me and you hear and you listen, I tell you,
Yeah.
I tell you.
Good. So for balance sake, some women go through this process of pain during delivery, and even throughout the pregnancy journey for some people is very cruel and very horrible. And then the delivery day they go through a lot complications and a lot of pain. Why some people have it easy, but it still doesn't trivialize what they did, the sacrifice and everything they had to go through, so it's just different for different people.
Yeah,
Like
different.
this is our story. In my case,
Yeah. So yeah, tell us about your
in my case, I had two cesarean sections. So she had for her two kids, she had vaginal delivery. And in my case, for my two kids, I had the first child, that was 5 years ago. I had an emergency cesarean section. And then for the second child, I had an elective cesarean section. So everything everyone gets to experience in cesarean section, that is what I
Experience.
experienced.
Yes.
That is what I had to go through. The injections on the spinal cord, the everything, the tugging and the whatever the doctors and the medics are doing in the
How did that feel? What did it
abdomen.
feel like?
It feels like where a box is open, where you throw a box
Like a
open,
luggage.
the luggage open, and then you are trying to sort through the luggage,
To
but not
You're trying to find
gently.
something
You're
that is
trying to
not
aggressively
look for
get
something.
something. So you're pushing and tugging and pulling, and you know
Yeah.
you're feeling that
Yeah.
tugging and pulling, and
Yeah.
even though that you've been given anesthesia, and
Yeah.
all of that, but to numb the pain, but you can still feel the pulling and everything. You can really feel it, and then when the anesthesia wears off, you're gonna feel all the feelings of the infirmity, all the pain and everything, and all of that. Then it takes you some time to learn how to walk and get back on your feet again, and you still have to do you
Did
know
I
ha-
did I did I talk
deal with
about
the baby while doing
did I
that.
talk about the
Oh, let's not talk about the
episiotomy?
episiotomy, where they have to cut
Cut,
through the vagina during
yeah, I
vaginal
had that
delivery.
twice
If
as well.
if the baby's head is not coming
For the
through
first and the second.
easily, yes.
Yeah.
So that
And
is also a
oh my
thing there.
goodness.
That is also a thing there. So
And then you have episiotomy where they
yes,
repair the repair of the episiotomy.
exactly. And then when you have a cesarean section, the healing of the scar of the line, and the scar that you get afterwards, and the
And then when you come back
sensitivity of that
again,
scar. The
yes.
scar remains sensitive almost for life,
Yes.
and all of that. And then if you have to do the cesarean section
Then
again,
they go
they
through
have to
that
go through
same
the same line, the same place again. So it's a whole lot of experiences, different experiences for
different
different
people.
people. So, but no one ever, mostly for most people, they weren't ever told. They weren't ever, for most women, they weren't ever prepared. They weren't really told or informed that this is what this childbearing process looks like. This is what you're going to see. So, and so one may ask, whose duty is it to tell, to inform, to share, and let the next generation know what they're going to see in childbearing? And the answer remains that most times the it, it's actually our mothers. It's in the place of our mothers, to let us know some of these things. Oh, my daughter, this is what it's going to be like during pregnancy. Oh, my daughter, this is what it's going to be like during delivery, and all of that. So the question here is, firstly, our mothers didn't share. Our mothers were, for the most part, silent on this very important,
Crucial
crucial phases of life
life.
that we have to go through.
We basically almost all have to go through.
As a woman, they were silent about it. They were very vocal on the part of, you have to
Married.
get married to the right person, morals, behave well,
Yeah.
have a good character, be godly. They are very vocal on all those things that have to do
Yeah.
with training you right, and all of that. But when it comes to what you're going to see, those one-off processes of life, or process of life you're going to have to meet over and over, they didn't really share on that. They were mostly silent.
Yeah,
So
they didn't, and they still don't. Like
they really still
most
don't.
of them still don't.
So I'm talking about our mothers, our grandmothers, and their
Yeah.
grandmothers, and their own great grandmothers.
Yeah.
So the question here is, why do you think our mothers shared less
Okay.
in this aspect, and did more of being a very good support system through whatever it is you're going to have to go through that they didn't tell you about, but they will
They'll
support
support
you
you.
through it all
They,
and
they,
be
will- they will
there through
support
it
you.
all, but they didn't tell us about it. Why do you think they didn't? What do you think was going on with them that made them not to really
Okay.
share?
I think for our mothers, for the most part, I think it's trauma.
Trauma.
Yes, I think our mothers were traumatized because they also had to go through a lot.
Without being told.
They had to go through a lot.
No one told them
No
to.
one told them. There was a lot of silence going on in the
In those
in
days,
those, like,
they were not informed.
from
Nobody was informed. Nobody was informing
and
anybody
nobody
of
was
it.
informing anybody, like in the 60s, in the 70s, in the, yeah, 80s as well. No, nobody, even the 90s,
Yeah.
nobody was informing. Like there was a lot of silence in the air when it came to some very, very crucial, very
Life phases.
remarkable hurdles that we have to go through, like you
As a
said, as a
woman,
woman. So I think, like, it was a pass down. Like my mother didn't tell me, so I
so I
won't
won't
tell you.
tell
And
you.
so, and then I think they also saw this thing these things as sacred things. Like they saw marriage as very sacred. Like
Of,
it's
of course it is.
like a worship, like just like when you see worship and reverence to God as sacred. So marriage is sacred. It's like, go and get married and then do as you wish, because your no two marriages are the same. So when you get there, whatever you and your husband does, whatever both of you see, however people want to do it, however you want to structure it, you do it. It's sacred. I can't put my mouth. Nobody put mouth in my own. Like my parent, you've not seen anybody putting their mouth in any other person's business. So this is how yours to be. Then for childbearing, sacred as well. Like when you go there, I don't know how it's going to be for you. So let me not project, but just go there. When you get there, I'll be with you. Like it's more of I'll be with you. Like, and they are very good at being
Being with
with you.
you
Like
in
they
the
will they
spirit
will
and
jump the
physically,
oceans, they will cross the mountains
to
just
be
to
with
be
you.
with you, to help you too, but they won't open their mouth to say this is what it is. And even okay, let's take for instance, they come to the hospital where you're giving birth, and the whole all that is over and done with. They're not even going to tell you, okay, now this is the next thing. breastfeeding, this was going to happen.
Oh, let's not
Oh,
talk about the topic of
breastfeeding,
breastfeeding.
let's not go there.
Breastfeeding is another world
And
altogether.
then that
It's
is
another
done,
school
and that,
institution of
oh my
breastfeeding.
goodness, and then that is done, and then not tell you, okay, there's going to be a weaning period, and this is
Yes.
what the weaning process looks like. This is what they pay, because there's pain in everything.
Yeah, there's
Like
pain in everything. There's
a
pain in
woman's
the
life,
breast.
there's
Yeah,
pain in
there's
everything.
pain in every
So
phase.
and after that, this is what nurturing the children look like. This is what child care looks like.
This is
This
what
is
the
what
child looks like when they're 1 year old.
this is
This is
what
what the
two
child
years.
looks like.
This is what 7 year old would 7 years. The 7 year old would be like. This is what they would do. This is what the 6 year old. This is what the 4 year old child. This is what the 3 year, like, you have the terrible twos, the terrific threes, the fantastic fours, and all that.
or
Nobody's
the
telling
six
the
month
the
olds
developmental
stages,
milestones, the
milestones.
stages. Nobody's saying nothing because nobody told them to. And then, like I said, I feel like they feel that these are sacred, happening. These are sacred things that will happen in life, and I
You
don't
just
want
it's
just
better you go
when you
through
get
them.
there. When you get
When
there,
you get there,
you'll be
you see it,
fine.
you'll be fine.
We are all
We
fine. We
didn't
didn't
die,
die,
so you wouldn't
so you
die.
wouldn't die. So
Mm.
that's the mistake. I think that's where,
Yeah.
yeah, the problem is.
Okay.
I think that was what the problem was with our mothers, and I think that it's not right. It's not right. That's like, how do you even say you love someone? No offense to your mothers, I'm not judging them. I love them so much. Their generation, they are like what they are and what they're doing. I don't think I can be and I can't do. Like, they are very amazing. They're very mature. They're very, hardcore. They're very everything. That most of us are not. But no offense to them. But how do you love someone so much? How does my mother love me so much, and you don't prepare me for such a time? How, like I have a daughter now. How do I say I love her so much, and I don't tell her, look at what this is going to be, look at what tomorrow holds, look at what tomorrow, and you're going into this. Okay, look at what is going to be from tomorrow, look at what is going. Nobody say, I can't fathom that love. But that's the love they knew. That's the love they knew, actually. And they love you so much,
Yeah, they do.
but it didn't translate to communication in for some situations,
Yeah, and I
you
think maybe
know.
because even from the Bible days and all of that, women were trained to be silent.
Silence, yes.
Women were asked to be silent.
Silence.
Women were seen to be, or were supposed to be seen to be silent. Don't talk, don't only be seen, don't be heard.
Heard.
So that was like almost passed down from generation to generation,
Generation.
down to the generation of our mothers, and uh, thankfully it's getting better now
Yes.
with our generation and of course the generation to come.
Mm-hmm.
But the
We have a
fact
lot of
the,
work to
yeah
do.
the fact remains that this is a challenge.
Yes.
it
The
has
communication gap.
it has become a challenge now. So and that is what I'm going to base on now,
Okay.
and I'm going to be talking about what makes it a challenge. Why is it a challenge that you have to tell, that we have to tell, that we have to pass down this to the next generation and bridge the knowledge gap?
Gap.
So there is a knowledge gap,
Very
when it comes
deficient.
to there's a knowledge gap, and there's a deficient when it comes to um the next generation knowing what they're going to see or encounter in these major crucial aspects of life, just like the one we are majoring on today, that is childbearing. There is a knowledge gap, and it has become very important and very crucial that everyone gets into the business of telling,
Talking.
of talking, of communicating, of sharing, what these experiences look like, what the journey feels like, to the next person who haven't yet gotten into that phase of life, or who hasn't yet experienced it, or who is just about to experience it. It's important that we do not keep mute any longer, because that silence didn't really help. In fact, it cost us a lot. What is the real cost of the silence of our mothers? What is the real cost of the silence of our mothers' generation, where they didn't tell us about childbearing, where they didn't tell us about pregnancy, where we weren't told about marriage and so many things, no offense to them, it's not their fault, it's also what they saw. But what is the real cost of this silence? What did it breed? What was the what were the consequences? And the consequences are the things we are seeing today.
Mistakes, a lot of
A lot
mistakes.
of
We
mistakes
get into
were done,
marriage
you know,
and then we make mistakes that they made. You
a lot
know,
of mistakes
we
were
get into
being
childbearing.
repeated,
People
being,
make mistakes.
yeah,
People don't know what to do. So people even die in the
yeah,
process.
people
People lose their
died, of
lives.
course, that ultimately
People
it
still,
led to the
yeah,
death of so many
let
people.
them still
Yeah,
leading.
so these mistakes were recycled,
Yes,
and then deaths came from this. So a lot of people
a
lost
lot
their
of
life.
mortality, a lot of,
Yeah, the
you know,
mortality rate is very high, when it comes to giving
it's
childbearing.
ridiculous. The
Is
mortality
very
rate is
ridiculous.
very ridiculous.
You need to research, you will see how ridiculous it is.
And
And
then the divorce rate. Okay, we're not talking
yeah,
about marriages. So
divorce rate, of course, in marriage. Why? Because most people weren't informed,
somebody will start.
weren't schooled, weren't, there was a knowledge,
Gap.
gap. So we need to bridge that knowledge gap. We need to start bringing the knowledge. We need to start communicating. The silence we need to do away with the silence, and whatever it is that was the reason why we felt there was need to be silent in the first place. We need to do away with that and begin to communicate, begin to share. So it is time to share. It is time to communicate. It is time to let the next person know that this is what this experience
This is
feels like.
feels
If
like.
you've ever gone through it, tell the next person. No, you're not going to form a doctrine out of your own experience. You're not going to
Mm-hmm.
form a whatever out of your own
Templates,
experience, a template out of your own experience, because everybody's experience is unique.
different. Mm-hmm.
But you're going to let them know that basically this is what it's going to feel like, this is what it's going to be, this is what you're going to see. If you have a sister, tell them. If you have a friend, let them know.
and and
Even
and,
your enemies,
and,
tell them.
and you're actually dealing. You're about to deal with the soul. You're about
Yes,
to deal with a life.
a
It's just
life.
like
If you're bringing life
it's
in,
just like
you need all the help you can
yes,
get.
just like medical school. You are being
Yes,
taught because you're going to deal with life. So it's a very, very like highly revered profession because you're
yeah,
about to deal with life.
life, yeah,
So you're taught from day one. You're taught like you're being taught, you're being
yeah,
trained, like
train.
you're passing through the crucibles from year one till whatever year you're done because you're
Mm.
about to deal with a life. That is the same thing with marriage. That's the same
Same
thing
thing
with
with
childbearing.
childbearing.
You're about to deal with a life, a
So,
soul,
so you
little
need
one
to
at
be
that. You
schooled.
need to be schooled
You need
about
to be
everything
taught.
about that, thing
Yeah,
you're about to get into.
you need to
That life you're about
know
to
more
handle,
about it.
you're
Yeah,
about to be responsible for. You need to
you
know
can't go into
to
that ignorant.
ignorant,
Even the
you know,
pregnancy phase, even the childbearing phase, even the nurturing the child phase,
phase and
all the phases, you
every year
can't
of
go
their
into
lives
it
till they become
ignorant.
adults and
Because
stand on their two
ignorant,
feet.
yes, because ignorance have cost us a lot, and in this generation it will cost more. If there is ignorance, if there is silence, it will cost more. So it is the job of everyone to begin to share, to begin to inform, to begin to bridge the knowledge gap. And then if you find yourself in this situation, if you find yourself about to get into this experience or phases of life, like childbearing, like marriage, like, you know everything, all the crucial and must have phase everybody gets into. When you find yourself in that, at that point, go for knowledge. So if you don't have anybody telling you,
Read books.
then go and find somewhere
Read
to
books.
get
There are
that
a lot
knowledge
of
from.
books
Read
now.
books, look for mentors, look for coaches,
Yes.
ask people that have gone through the experience. Don't do life
Life
alone.
alone.
Don't do that process alone. Some people, most times we have this habit of keeping silent about our
Yeah.
delivery phase and
Yeah.
pregnancy
Like
phase until we deliver, and everybody's like,
oh, the
congratulations
chance.
and all of that.
That's
No,
amazing.
that's amazing.
That's
That is okay in
yeah.
itself. But while you're keeping it away from the general public at large, make sure in your corner you have people in your corner that you're talking to, you're speaking to. You have doctor friends, you have sisters or elder ones or mentors or senior friends that you're asking questions, you're getting information from, you're asking them, how does this thing. You have people that are talking to you,
People
that
that
are
have gone through
preparing
that
you,
path that
that have
you're
gone through
about to
that
go
path,
through.
that can prepare you, or that are experts in this pathway that can prepare you. So the preparation is important, the communication is important, the knowledge, getting knowledge is important, sharing is important. These are all the ways and more
Mm-hmm.
that we can get to, you know put an
Bridge.
end to this
Yes.
silence that had gone on from one generation of our mothers to the next generation. And like we said, no offense on our mothers,
We
they're the
love them
most
so
lovely
much.
people on earth.
Most.
and they only exhibited what they saw,
So,
you
and
know,
what they know, all
but
they knew, that
the
was all they
Bible will
knew.
always say the glory of the latter should be greater
Greater than
than
the
that
past.
of the former. So this generation, what we are doing, how we handle it, the approach we take, our strategy should be better than what we saw, and it should be better than what we saw.
Yes,
So
or
it's
what we
yes,
experienced,
and
what we had.
what we had, so going forward, have this at the front of your mind, that knowledge is everything, knowledge is power, so that more people do not get to lose their lives. Why being
Or lose their
or
sanity.
lose their sanity? Because okay, let's look, what about postpartum depression?
Depression.
People have babies and then they go into
But
depression.
and that's even one of the major reasons, because nobody
Yeah,
prepared
nobody
them.
prepared them.
Yeah, some
So
people are prepared, and then when they get there, they're still overwhelmed by
yeah,
the whole, experience and
yeah,
process.
being
But majorly
yeah,
is the unpreparedness
yes, the
that leads
unpreparedness
to,
that leads to sometimes lead to this,
shock, and
the shock of
you're like crashing out, and I can't
yeah,
do the what's
you
this?
know,
What's this?
this time around, a
It's
culture
not,
shock, but
nice
it's
at all.
the process shock, the shock of the experience you're having to go
It's
through,
not
having
nice.
kids and bringing another life to this world. So these are the things we should put into consideration and know that in our generation,
Women helping women,
women should begin to help
hold each
women,
other by
hold
hand,
each other by hand,
and we do this
walk through this
together.
process, do this together, share, speak up. It's no longer time to keep silent. Oh, those days people hardly even mention the word menstruation.
Vision.
People hardly mention the word I'm on my period.
Period.
It's like, oh, don't say
See
it, don't
that,
say it. That should be,
sex.
people hardly
Don't
mention
say
the word
sex.
sex,
Don't say that.
or I'm about to give birth,
It's,
or
no, it's
I had,
sacred. Don't say
it's
it. Don't say
sacred. No, these things should be talked about, should be learned, should be known, just to reduce the number of deaths, to reduce the number of
people losing it.
mistakes, to reduce the number of
People losing it.
people crashing out, and mental health problems, postpartum depression, and so many other things that could go wrong, that people experience and still experiencing. So that is it
Yeah,
for
yeah, that's it.
today,
Yes, for
on
today,
this episode
on
of
this
In-House
episode.
Unfiltered. And we hope you learned a lot, and we hope you are going to implement what you've heard and also pass it down. So please do well
And
to
do a lot of learning.
and do a lot of learning. Yeah. So
Yeah.
do well to like this video, share,
Share.
yeah,
Yes. And comment.
leave a comment.
Yes.
Very important.
Yes.
But most importantly, share to all the women, even the men,
Girls,
the girls, the young ones. See, there's no age bracket to this thing.
none.
You can start
Like, we
schooling
teach
your
our children
yeah,
everything. We
everything. You
teach
have to
them,
start
like,
letting them know
we
ahead
let
of
them. We
time.
teach them.
Anything you don't teach them, the
Oh my
society
goodness,
will teach
teach
them.
them.
Anything you don't let people know, they will hear
And
it
you
from
have to start
somewhere
on
else. You
time.
have to start on time. So there's no age limit to it. Teach the younger ones. Teach them, the children, the adolescents, the teenagers, the youths. Just share
Tell
this
them.
knowledge with everyone you know. It's so important, and it will really, really go a long way to minimize a lot of consequences and
Yeah.
mistakes that can be made.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
being with
so
us.
much. Thank
And we
you.
look forward to seeing you,
Next time
yes,
on
on our next
In-House
episode on
Unfiltered.
In-House Unfiltered. God bless
See
you.
you.
Bye for
Bye.
now.